Will cancel culture come for all of us? In just the past few months, many prominent figures have fallen victim to this so-called cancel culture, from politicians to celebrities, even media outlets themselves. Just yesterday, Twitter permanently suspended the account for the right-wing investigative outlet Project Veritas. The account of Project Veritas's founder, James O'Keefe, also temporarily locked. Plus, Instagram has just removed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from their platform after questioning COVID-19 and the vaccines. Then over to Hollywood. Disney's Mandalorian star Gina Carano fired after voicing her opinion on social media. And making headlines themselves, the New York Times newsroom is in chaos after two journalists left the company after facing scrutiny on some completely separate situations. Now, from one media outlet to another, China now banning BBC News from broadcasting in their country in what appears to be a retaliatory move. So in today's day and age, can anyone really voice their opinions freely anymore? Whether on cable news or social media, people with certain ideas or beliefs are being publicly rejected and silenced, or in some cases, even losing their jobs. We'll have a panel of guests join us to discuss it. But first, Trinity Chavez gives us a breakdown of cancel culture's latest victims. Cancel culture has been around for a while, but it has intensified in recent times. And now in the age of social media, it has become a polarizing topic of debate. Now many are wondering if cancel culture is killing free speech. Canceling means the public ostracization or silencing of a person, a group, or organization due to a perceived mistake. Sometimes this can mean a loss of platform or boycott on a certain product, but more recently, the phenomenon has led to firings and resignations amid the country's shifting views on race. Even non-celebrities have become entangled in this evolving web. And as social media continues to evolve, Twitter has become a powerful court of opinion, and cancel culture plays a role. Twitter now taking aggressive action, censoring what content is shared on the platform. On Thursday, the social media platform permanently suspended the Twitter account belonging to James O'Keefe on Thursday, founder of Project Veritas, a right-wing group that routinely published uncover sting videos after he confronted a Facebook vice president about their double standard.
There's nothing in this tweet that violates anyone's privacy. I'm simply quoting a Facebook vice president, a matter of utmost public concern, probably more of a newsworthy issue than the Standard Oil monopoly of 100 years ago. But I'm going ahead and delete this against my own conscience so that I can utilize our Twitter account moving forward.
Since deleting that tweet, his account has been reinstated, and while Twitter declined to say what specific tweets may have triggered the enforcement action, the company said that O'Keefe's personal account had been locked temporarily for violating the same policy. Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, also barred longtime anti-vaccine activist Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for allegedly spreading coronavirus misinformation after questioning the COVID-19 vaccine. A spokesperson for the company said, "We removed this account for repeatedly sharing debunked claims about the coronavirus or vaccines." However, Kennedy unequivocally rejects those characterizations of being false or misleading and said in a statement, "Every statement I put on Instagram was sourced from a government database, from peer-reviewed publications, and from carefully confirmed news stories. None of my posts were false. This kind of censorship is counterproductive if our objective is a safe and effective vaccine supply." The culture war raging far beyond social media platforms. Gina Carano, who starred as the warrior Cara Dune in The Mandalorian, was fired by production powerhouse Lucasfilms and the United Talent Agency for this controversial Instagram post that she made showing a woman being chased through the streets. The accompanying text said that the Nazis fomented public hatred against Jews as a part of the Holocaust, and she asked, "How is that any different from hating someone for their political views?" The post, which was later deleted, sparked outrage and the hashtag #FireGinaCarano. Fans of The Mandalorian, Gina Carano, though, are crying cancel culture in the new Change.org petition that demands Disney Plus bring her back to the series. Meantime, the New York Times also facing scrutiny over how the paper has handled personnel issues and conflicts of sensitivity. The outcry by staffers leading to two resignations of Andy Mills and 45-year New York Times veteran Donald McNeil Jr. Though the cases are unrelated, they both share the fact that the Times knew about their specific inappropriate conduct for years, but took little to no action. Now, the debate over cancel culture centers around whether mass public criticism furthers the cause of justice or if it represents a misinformed online witch hunt that poses a threat to free speech. And while experts still struggle with a clear-cut way to hold people accountable, they say that we can start by allowing and not silencing the exchange of ideas and uncomfortable conversations for the greater good. Reporting in New York, Trinity Chavez, RT. And joining us to discuss our panel today, host of Eat the Press, Steve Malzberg is here, and civil rights attorney and radio talker, Robert Patillo, joining us. So gentlemen, feel free to respond to one another's comments if it is warranted. So with that, Steve, I want to start with you first. What is your take on how far cancel culture has gone thus far?
It's gone from maybe on a scale of 1 to 10 over the past year or several months, from maybe a 3 or a 2 to about an 8, and I think we're headed to 10 plus. It is an outrage. It is frightening what we are seeing, and I have to say that this cancel culture, with very, very, very few exceptions, is headed in one direction. It's canceling conservatives. It's canceling conservative thought, conservative speech, conservative sites, conservative people, and that's where we are. What we are seeing here is, and we know this, we know that if an article is written in a newspaper and the management says, well, that's fine, or an opinion piece, so that's freedom of expression, the employees are now getting together and they write to management, hundreds of them, or 100, however big the company is, demanding that action be taken against the person who wrote that opinion piece, or to admit that it was wrong to do it. In other words, not only is upper management left-wing and liberal, but we're seeing that the employees at these tech companies, at these journalists, supposedly bastions of journalism, newspapers, etc., which we've known for some time, they are all liberals. So when you have all liberals now who fancy themselves as speech Nazis, and they will decide what's appropriate, and they will punish who they deem to be inappropriate, that's what we're seeing. There's only one result: conservative speech silenced.
Now, Bob, I know social media isn't protected by the First Amendment, but in effect, don't all these bans hurt the ability of people to have open dialogue in our society?
No, not at all. And I find it ironic that the same people who are crying about cancel culture today were not standing up for Colin Kaepernick when he was getting canceled by the president, and these same conservatives for expressing his political views that he has not worked since. These same people were not standing up for Sinead O'Connor when she went after the Pope, and she never recovered her career. They've been standing for Howard Cosell in the 70s when he said, "Look at that little monkey run." That was not cancel culture. You can say certain things in civil society, and you cannot say others. It's not muting you. If you want to get your message, I find it amazing. People get on television to talk about how they can't get their messaging out. So in reality, the only thing these companies are doing is realizing we are private companies and corporations. We have a profit-driven motive, not to distribute any crazy conspiracy theory that you find on the internet. And if you want to peddle those things, peddle them somewhere else, not on my platform. And there have been court cases where there's been legal liability. There's been legal liability for social media companies for things that have been planned on their platforms, and they're not going to get sued in order for you to share memes that you found on QAnon. So let's not get these things out of proportion. We're dealing with a pandemic. We're dealing with an